Ken Acklethorne here, my buddy Bill Wilson. A little different version of the Gun Guys episode. We're over at Bill's shop, and Bill's going to go over the details of what he does as far as maintenance and lubrication with his pistol. Tell us what you got going on, Bill.
Ken, today what we're going to do, we're going to take my main range gun. This is the pistol that I shoot the most and has, you know, a good wear pattern on it, which is going to be good to show the audience here. Basically, we're going to show what I do about every 300 rounds for normal maintenance, and then we'll go into longer term maintenance on it.
Excellent.
All right, before we start actually showing the maintenance on the gun, I want to go over the various tools that I use to maintain a 1911 handgun. We've got the crevice tool here, which is good for cleaning out the frame rails and slide rails. I've just got an old toothbrush here used to clean off the breech face of the slide. Got the chamber cleaning tool, because you got to keep the chamber clean. Got a punch here. I'm going to use it for getting the firing pin out and putting the firing pin back in. Same thing with this is a tool here that Brownells has. I think it's Brownells area out, that's designed to take the mainspring housing pin out. Is primarily what it's designed for, but it has multiple uses. And then I've got a 22 caliber nylon cleaning brush that we're going to use to clean out the channel where the extractor goes. And then I've got Ultimalube Universal that I use on a couple places on the gun, which I'll show you, and just the regular Ultimalube oil that I use for the primary lubrication of the firearm. And then I've got a dummy round 9mm here that I use to check my extractor tension. Okay folks, we're going to go ahead and do the maintenance that I do on my personal guns at about the 300 round interval. Okay. First off, we're going to take the top end off the gun. Get the gun basically field stripped. And then we're going to take a paper towel, which the generic Walmart brand of Bounty is my favorite. It's a pretty tough towel. Wipe it all down good. Try to get all the firing residue that I can off the component parts here. As you can see, the feed ramp with you can see the pattern there where the bullet's been feeding up on there, you know. Go ahead and clean the feed ramp off good.
You know, if you're going to use a solvent, Bill, to clean some of that carbon off, do you have a favorite solvent you prefer to use, or do you just use whatever's available?
For taking firing residue like that off, I primarily use Hoppy's Bench Rest.
There you go.
Which has some ammonia in it. I don't like using on the bore of my rifles, but it works really good to take. I mean, but I'm not too anal about getting every bit of that off of there.
Okay.
I think you're a little bit the same way.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to clean the chamber, because
and that's a key point.
You got to keep the chamber clean. I mean, if you want a semi-auto to work, especially an AR, you got to keep the chamber clean.
You can skip the bore.
Yeah.
But boy, the chamber is real critical.
You got to keep the chamber clean. Tell you what, this little crevice tool thing is just super handy, you know, for cleaning off the frame rail areas, you know.
Is that a Brownells item or something you guys market?
It's one of the product we sell. I don't remember the name of the company that actually manufactures it, but it's a good little piece of equipment, and it's almost a necessity to really clean out the rails in the slide. It makes that job so easy. You just go in there and like so, with a double thickness paper towel, and you know, it just cleans out that every bit of the old firing residue out of that rail.
And as you mentioned earlier, you know, if you leave that carbon and ash in there, and even if you lube it, you're really creating a bit of a lapping compound. So if you like your nice slide to frame fit, you kind of compromise that by not getting all that crap out of there.
Once you get enough buildup of that and you put lube in there, it does just almost act like a really super fine lapping compound, which is obviously not good for your longevity of your firearm. And that, you know, as we've talked numerous times, Ken, it's not so much how clean that you keep these things, it's how well you keep them lubed.
Yeah.
I mean, metal frame firearms are designed for the mating surfaces to have lubrication on them.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is. Okay.
Now, out of curiosity, Bill, I know that you can see, I can see right now, and I'm sure the folks at home can see it. There are some obviously wear patterns at different points where actually the finish, you can see wear in the finish, like on the locking lugs and the slide and stuff like that. I'm going to guess, as far as you're concerned, those are key issues you need to be concerned about as far as lube points.
Yeah, you got areas you can see the shiny part on the frame rails there, where you know, we got metal contact, and on the muzzle of the barrel, and then on the locking lugs at the back, and on the top of the barrel hood and the barrel lugs and stuff like that. Metal has obviously been contacting there, so it's a place that must be lubricated. Okay, I've got that for just my normal 300 round cleaning. That's about as far as I go right there, guys. I don't do a whole heck of a lot more than what I've got here. That's clean enough for it. Before I start lubrication and putting it back together, one of the things I always do is check my extractor tension. I take a dummy cartridge and slide it up under the extractor, and extractor should hold that cartridge tight like that, and you should actually be able to shake it a little bit and that cartridge not come loose. If you don't have enough tension to hold that round in place on your breech face, you're going to have some ejection issues of some sort.
Hey Bill, while we're at it, when you're cleaning your gun, at what point do you deal with extractor channel as far as cleaning it? Is that, you have an interval that you prefer?
I'll probably yank the firing pin and the extractor out of the gun somewhere between the 1 and 2,000 round interval, somewhere in there.
And how do you do that? What's your process for that?
Okay, I'll show you there. I'm going to take just a common punch. I'm going to depress the firing pin and start the firing pin stop down, start sliding down. Then I'm going to put my finger over there to catch the firing pin because it's coming out under spring tension.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take the firing pin and spring out. Okay, this is the little more difficult part of it here because of the fact the extractor's sitting in there, you know, under an angle tension, you know, to maintain your tension in there. You know,
I'm going to have to depress it out.
I'm going to have to move it over to be able to get it initially out.
A 45 one rarely requires that.
Yeah, it's harder with a 9 than it is with a 45. Yeah. So I'm going to push it this way and out and pop it over the breech face. Yeah. Then I'm going to put my thumb here to protect the finish on my slide. I'm going to stick the tool in there and get it on out until I've got the thing. I get a hold of it and pull it out.
And you can see the crud on that, the carbon buildup on that, pretty
You know what,
serious.
Ken? The last time I'd done this might have been 10,000 rounds ago.
It looks it. And you can see the importance, because when you get that carbon buildup, it does affect the tension a bit.
But you know what that proves, Ken? Just like we've talked in other videos about this stuff, it's not so much how clean you keep it, it's how well you keep it lubed. I mean, I've been shooting this gun, you know, with proper lubrication cycle on it, and obviously, you know, not doing a particularly good job of actually cleaning the gun. And you know, it's been running like a champ. I haven't had any issue.
And you know, people can see, you can kind of show the little bit of a curve to that extractor. That's key to that tension thing. If it's straight, you're probably not going to get the extractor tension you really would like.
Yep. All right. Well, based on what we saw there, Ken, I think we're going to find out that channel is a little bit dirty.
Yeah.
And on that subject, I got a little story there I'm going to throw into this. We're at Bill Rogers' range, you know, our old buddy Bill, and my buddy Cody, Mandy Bachman's husband, is there, and we're doing the class. And his CQB 45, that, I mean, he is, you know, he's probably had 40,000 rounds to it, something like that. And it's always been 100% reliable, even though Cody loads marginal quality hand loads. All of a sudden his gun starts choking. I mean, we're talking like he's getting a stoppage every every freaking magazine, you know? And so Bill's got a nice shop there. We go over to Bill's shop to see what's going on. And we look down in there, and you can't even hardly see the face of the extractor.
So much crud.
You know, there's so much crud in there. And so we pull it apart like this, and it looked much worse than what my extractor did. And we take a 22 caliber nylon cleaning brush, and we run that sucker through there, you know, and like it's like this. It's like really, really, really tight. And
yeah, that was
see that god awful plug of shit coming out of there.
Yeah,
that's nothing compared to what came out of my buddy Cody's gun that day. I mean, when we pulled that stuff out,
so
of
it
there,
basically had no extractor tension as a result of that buildup.
It was so packed behind it, the extractor couldn't flex anymore.
Yeah,
it couldn't get out of the way.
Well, that's a sure.
But you can see there. Look at all the trash there that came out when I run that nylon 22 brush through there. You know, with lots of elbow grease, by the way, to get it to go through there. And you can see there.
Some big flakes came out pretty good.
Yeah,
there.
I mean, you can see here. I mean, look at, you know, obviously I went a little far.
A little past your normal.
Little past my normal cleaning interval on this particular one here. Yeah, yeah. But this shows you how well these things will run just by keeping them lubed. I mean, they can be extremely dirty and still run just fine.
Wow, and you can see just on the surface of your cleaning mat, there's a lot of crap.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've knocked all kinds of crap out of there, you know. Okay, well it's going to be good now. Of course, I probably got some more trash in my nice clean frame rails from all that shit coming out of there. Okay, and then to put it back together, nothing in here requires lube. You know, I don't even lube the firing pin.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the extractor back in. To do that, we're going to have to push it over, because you can see there, due to the curvature there, you can see it's offset from the center of the hole. So I'm going to have to push that over the same time I push it in. And
you want to make sure that slot's lined up so the firing pin stop will go right up into it.
You're going to get it in there flush, and then you can take your firing pin
and
just line it up like so. You know, make sure rotationally it's lined up, and it's lined up where the firing pin will go. Firing pin stop will go up into the slot. So
and
you're good.
Bill, you're like me. I normally inspect that firing pin stop for cracks when I have it apart.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. While you got the firing pin stop out.
That 90-degree corner is normally
back in the old days, remember, the material that was used on a lot of these things, they were real prone to crack from the corner to that hole.
The Colt, that haunted Colt.
They broke all the time, and then once it cracked there, it wasn't long until it cracked right along here, and then now you had a half of a firing pin stop in your gun. So always check that out while you've got it out. Make sure.
And I'm going to guess you guys use premium materials for that.
Yeah, we use S7 tool steel for that, and so they
see. I've never seen on any of the Wilsons I've been around. I've never seen them ever crack. I mean, I've got guns with a lot of rounds on them. I've never seen an issue.
Yeah, this gun's probably got 60,000 rounds on it, and you can see it's not hurt. Okay, this is the kind of the tricky part of putting it back together. It's a good way to send your firing pin, across the room.
Do a Cody Brockman into the neon lights. Yeah.
Speaking of another Cody story, that was funny, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're in this training class, guys, and we're all here at a bunch of tables, and Larry Vickers is doing the complete maintenance of the 1911 class. Cody's doing his this way, and next thing you know, he has launched his firing pin into the fluorescent light above us, and it goes off like a gunshot. Sounds like a gunshot. And
glass everywhere.
And dead silence in the room. It's like, who torched off a round? And there's Cody there, like it's been snowing on him from all the fluorescent glass shit on top of him. Yeah. Oh God, that was funny.
Yeah, he was kind of got a lot of attention there for a while.
Okay, now I've got it where it can't get away from me now. So we're at that point now, so I can just slide it in, and the firing pin will pop into place, and we're good to go.
Cool.
So that's basically, what should be done about every 5,000 rounds. And then at the same interval, we're not going to go into today because we've done classes on where we show people how to take the frame apart and put it back together. And every one of them has been a train wreck, hasn't it?
Oh, man.
It's like, you know,
it's never a pretty picture.
As you know, we end up going from student to student, putting their guns back together, almost every one of them, because they can't put it back together. So
and sometimes without all the parts present.
Yeah. So my recommendation, if you need to clean everything out of your frame, is to yank your grips off the gun, and then take some sort of aerosol cleaner like a gun scrubber or a Zep or something like that. Put rubber gloves on and just hose that sucker down, and take a magwell brush and brush it out good, and then blow it dry, and put your grip panel back on.
I use a plumber's brush to run down. You can buy them in a hardware store. Nylon brush to run down through there. You mentioned something real interesting, and that is the fact that if you use gun scrubber or Zap or brake cleaner and stuff, that will kill a fiber optic sight instantly.
Yeah, that will destroy a fiber optic sight, and it will loosen the insert on a tritium night sight installation.
Generally speaking, when you clean a gun with a night sight or fiber optic, be careful. You want to make sure that you get any of that basically that acrylic material will crystallize because of the gun scrubber, which makes it fracture just almost in the next magazine. It's going to go south on you. So if you use a fiber optic, be very careful what you use for cleaning solvents that's going to come in contact with it.
I don't use any solvents when I'm cleaning the slide at all. The only place I'll use any of those aerosol solvents is just blasting out all the crud out of the frame.
Good.
But personally, I usually strip it down and clean it. But it's amazing how long if you're not out in a sandy environment, it's amazing how long you can go without doing any further maintenance than what we've shown you right here.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and go into the proper lubrication and reassembly on this gun.
Cool.
Okay, so we're all ready now to put the gun back together with proper lubrication. Okay. Put the barrel back in. Recoil spring plug in. And then I take the universal, which is kind of our...
Kind of a medium weight, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a light grease, I would call it. Okay. It's either a heavy oil or a light grease.
Okay.
And it really stays put. It's good at staying right where you put it. And I'll put a drop on the bottom locking lugs there. And then I'm going to take the regular oil, just our standard Ultima Lube oil, unless it's really cold, and then I'll use the light Ultima Lube if it's cold weather. But I mean, it's going to be in the 80s today, so this is plenty good. And I'll just run a little light bead of it down the rail, like so. I'll usually put a drop on the disconnector, like so. And then we'll take the recoil spring, get it back in place. And then I'll take the universal, and I'll put some on the top of the barrel hood, so it'll work its way.
In front of the barrel hood, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll work its way on the barrel lockup, top lockup areas, like so.
So now your locking lug area is now lubricated.
They're lubed. I'll try to get the excess off the back. So, and then I'm gonna again use the heavier universal and the wear pattern on the muzzle of the barrel. I'm gonna put some on that wear area where it contacts the inside of the slide. If this was a bushing barrel gun, I'd be putting it around there, and then it would lube inside the barrel bushing. So that's basically the maintenance that I would do, for every 300 rounds. That's the maintenance I do on this gun. So
now let me ask you something. For more extended maintenance, obviously, let's say, let me throw it out this right now. Spring replacement. Do you have a schedule that you try to follow as recoil spring replacement?
It makes a big difference, Ken, on what type of recoil spring you have. If you're using a conventional music wire spring,
A round spring.
a round coil spring, made out of music wire material. Sometimes people call it the higher grades rocket wire.
Yeah.
You know, those springs, depending on if it's a officer's model gun or a full size gun, they die anywhere from 500 rounds to 2,000 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on a full-size government, I would recommend replacing music wire recoil springs every 2,000 rounds. Commanders, maybe 1,000, and the compacts, and you know, officers' model size guns, 5 to 700, somewhere along in there.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of chrome silicon springs.
All right.
That's what I run in all my guns. And the round wire chrome silicon springs, you can easily double that service life by going just.
That's important.
And then like the spring you probably saw in this one there, this is a flat wire spring, which we run in all of our compact model guns. They last almost forever. I mean, I've probably got 10,000 rounds on this gun, on that spring that's in this gun right now. I would say an absolute safe bet would be to change those 7,000-8,000 rounds, something like that. You know, then you would never have a.
And the intensity of the load, as far as the pressure and it does have a factor.
Oh yeah, the hotter ammo you shoot, the harder it's going to be on your recoil spring. So, like I say, just a spring doesn't last forever. I mean, it doesn't matter
kind of
what.
like tires on your car.
It's like tires on your car. I mean, it's something that periodically it's going to have to be replaced.
How about the firing pin springs? I know you guys use extra powers. Are they last a long time, or something you need to replace? Do you have a schedule on those?
Again, it's about the music wire ones. I think it's our part number 26 that our music wire, our part number 26 that we've had in the product line forever. I'm going to say every 5,000 rounds would be a good time to change that out. This is a chrome silicone in here. I think it's the original one was in this gun when it's built. It's probably got 20,000 rounds on it. You know.
Yeah, they last a long time.
Yeah, they last a long time. All right, Ken, that's my normal maintenance schedule on this gun. And as you noticed there, I'm sure, I only lubed areas where it showed metal on metal contact.
Yeah.
I mean, areas where there was no finish wear whatsoever on the gun, I didn't put any lube there because all that's going to do is collect firing residue in an area that we're not protecting the functioning of the gun and the wear of the gun.
Hey,
so,
I appreciate it, Bill. I think it provides information a lot of people are curious about. And like we talked about earlier, people's lack of lubricating the gun seems to be one of the nightmares we see on a regular basis. And listen, a lot of this information is provided in the Gun Guy's book about weapons maintenance. Plus, there's some real good tips about training. When you go to the range, how to maintain your proficiency, how to get better. A lot of good info in here in Bill's book, The Gun Guys. You might want to get one of these for your library. I guarantee you it's worth the time and effort.